This PowerPoint is an introduction to the course Reading Foundation, and it also contains the devotions for Module 1. I'm going to read Genesis 1:26-31. And God said, "Let us make man in our image after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea and over the fowl of the air, over the cattle and over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth." So God created man in his own image. In the image of God created he him. Male and female created he him. And God blessed them, and God said unto them, "Be fruitful and multiply, and replenish the earth, and subdue it, and have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over every living thing that moveth upon the earth." And God said, "Behold, I have given you every herb-bearing seed which is upon the face of all the earth, and every tree, in the which is the fruit of the tree yielding seed. To you it shall be for meat. And to every beast of the earth, and to every fowl of the air, and to everything that creepeth upon the earth wherein there is life, I have given every green herb for meat." And it was so. And God saw that everything that he had made, and behold, it was good. And the evening and the morning were the sixth day. One of the beauties of studying reading is to see how God created humans with unique abilities. We are predisposed in ways designed for reading and speaking. These structures have been in place even though we've only been reading for a relatively short time in history. Parts of our brains are designed for the ability to speak and read. No other creature has this design. God's design for reading. Our eyes take in visual information and maps it onto the auditory information. Our eyes are uniquely designed. The structure of the eyes have rods and cones distributed in such a way that as we focus on a symbol, a letter, we pick up the lines, the circles, and the crosses. We have a special ability to see these. When people are first learning to read, the eyes are extracting out the features of individual letters. God's design for speaking in our throats. When first born, a baby can breathe and eat at the same time, which allows them to eat without choking. At about 3 months, the larynx begins to lower into the throat. This is when the baby begins to coo and make other sounds that enthrall us. The larynx continues to lower, and by the child's first birthday, the larynx has moved downward 3 centimeters. This space now allows for more airflow, which in turn allows speech. During puberty, the male larynx continues to move even farther down, which causes the deepening of the voice. While the larynx of some other mammals lower, it is not permanent and does not allow speech, but merely results in different tones in their vocalizations. The following slides introduce us to the overarching ideas in teaching reading. These concepts will be studied in depth through this course. Reading is a complex cognitive process that requires many abilities to be working together in order to be fluent readers. Teachers of emerging readers need to be aware of the stages of reading development as well as being observers of their students' performance. Emerging readers can be of any age. The simplified view of reading was created by Goff and Tunmer in 1986. Reading ability, RA, is seen as the product of decoding and learning comprehension. It reminds us the ability to decode words is absolutely essential for skilled reading. Those with either very low decoding skills or very low oral comprehension skills will be poor reading comprehenders. Decoding or word reading is often the bottleneck that prevents readers from attaining higher adequate text comprehension. We've also added the M to this equation. It stands for motivation. Without motivation, a person doesn't choose to read, and their decoding and learning comprehension skills do not continue to grow stronger. So obviously, with them calling this a simplified view of reading, we understand it's a really quite a complex operation. The 4 processors. We have info stored in our brain about the auditory system, phonology, from our experiences. We also have information stored visually in our brain, orthographic concepts of print. There's another center, which is the semantics or meaning unit, and a fourth, which is syntax and context. When we read a word, all of the domains of language have stored information. We take in the symbols connected to the sounds you have, which unlocks the meaning and confirms the context. Auditory and visual are connected to decoding. Semantics and syntax are related to language comprehension. For people with delayed decoding, you rely on the other two while this info is coming. Beginning readers have to get these systems hooked up or mapped out. It's challenging because in auditory you go from big features, the speech stream, to smaller units, the individual sounds, the phonemes. In visual, you go from small features, letters, to larger units, connected text. If you look at this diagram called the framework for reading, we can see the different parts of what we saw in that equation. You can see the first part is the decoding, and everything that comes under, the skills and strategies need to come under for a person to sound out or figure out a word they don't know. On the right side, we see comprehension and the things that are essential for someone to understand what it is they're reading. And then we have the umbrella over that with motivation. We need to help students enjoy the process as best we can to be motivated to read. You'll be learning about all these concepts in this course. Beginning in the 1960s, a dispute about the best way to teach reading emerged. The controversy reached a peak in the 1980s and continued into the 1990s. This dispute, known as the Reading Wars, was about two vastly different approaches to teaching reading. Refer back to the 4 processors slide and the framework of reading chart. Approach 1 is the phonics approach. Those are those decoding sections that you see. Approach number 2 is whole language, the comprehension sections. Phonics is considered a bottom-up approach where students decode the meaning of a text. They learn skills to figure out words they don't know. Phonics includes skills such as learning letter sounds, vowel rules, learning to sound out words, etc. The advantage of a phonics approach, especially for students who come to school with large vocabularies, is that once they learn the basic skills, they can go to the library and read a variety of children's literature. Whole language is considered a top-down approach where the reader constructs a personal meaning for a text based on using their prior knowledge to interpret the meaning of what they're reading. Language is treated as a complete meaning-making system. Readers do not learn phonics skills. They use pictures, context, and previous knowledge to recognize words as whole pieces of language instead of breaking words into parts. The International Reading Association, now known as the International Literacy Association, ILA, declared that no one method is best. Teachers must have a strong knowledge of multiple methods for teaching reading and a strong knowledge of the children in their care so that they can create the appropriate balance of methods. Just as we need to eat a balanced diet, the ILA recommends teaching both phonics and whole language skills and strategies. This course will work methodically through the components of the framework of reading chart, beginning with decoding skills, phonics, and through the comprehension strategies, whole language. But first, we need to re-experience what it feels to learn to read. An orthography is a representation of the sounds of a language by written symbols. That's the definition from Merriam-Webster Dictionary. You've learned to read the English orthography, and you will teach students to read the same orthography. Once we've learned a skill, we often forget the details of the experience. Unless you know someone who struggled to learn to read, you may view it as a natural process that anyone could pick up fairly easily. The activity that follows is designed for you to re-experience learning to read. There are different directions for cohorts that are fully online and for cohorts taking the hybrid course. Fully online cohorts follow these directions. If you're in the fully online course, you will do this activity at home. The materials you need are on the Moodle page in Module 1. Following the completion of reading the story, you will reflect on your experience and you'll write a forum post where you share your experience and respond to peers. If you're in a hybrid cohort, you will not do this activity now. We will do it in our class in our first face-to-face session at the end of Module 1. We'll then discuss it in class, so you will not be doing a forum post about it. As you work through the modules of this course, you will learn many skills and strategies for teaching reading to students of any age or ability. You will meet many Minnesota licensure standards and will learn content that will be on your licensure exams. Let's go.